Well, you know, if that's the reality, if that is the reality of the chess world they live in, where like if someone could find some way to do it for one move period, let's just say it's possible to do it for one move, I mean I don't really see how professional chess continues in the long run. I don't. This is another interview, I think, with Ken Regan.
We're joined by Dr. Ken Regan, the man who once calculated that God would have a perfect chess rating of 3,600, and here he is.
Wait, that's an interesting. Like, again, of course, this is not to make a joke out of it, but he said that it didn't. He said that God would be 3,600. Aren't Stockfish and like Alpha Zero like 3,800? Or am I wrong? Aren't they like higher than that? So like that prediction is a little bit sus, right? A little bit of a sus prediction. So Stockfish is greater than God? Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's listen in.
Kenneth, your work with cheating in chess in the early 2000s, you created an anti-cheating program for chess that is still in use today in the Tour, in the Sinkfield Cup. Can you first of all tell us, how does this anti-cheating program?
I mean, again, like we're gonna keep watching. I haven't seen this before, but that I actually find that kind of scary. That actually kind of scares me a little bit when they're talking about a program that was created in the early 2000s and it's still being used. That actually really worries me a little bit. If they're using the same thing from 2002, like that actually kind of scares me a little bit. I mean, I was around in 2002 and the world was a very different time. So I hope, yeah, it's not the same thing.
Work.
Yeah, so it actually has two stages. And I just say my work began with a very qualitative block P model that I used in the toilet gate chess scandal of 2006. But that was already sufficient to show the main principle which has operated in the game between Niemann and Carlsen 2 weeks ago, which is that if you have a position with a clear standout move, a strong human player and a computer are both likely to agree on that move. So therefore what my model does is try to ascertain to what degree a position has standout moves, how difficult, how complicated it is, and thereby put probabilities on all of the given moves in a position, and from that derive related aggregate statistics that can ultimately be used to make statistical judgments of unlikelihood.
There is one thing, again, like, I mean, I have to take this, you know, of course, taking this in mind, obviously I don't understand a lot of what he's saying, like everybody else, but the one thing that actually, the thing that I kind of am curious about when you talk about this model is like, does this model have input from super GMs or not? Like, you know, like where is he getting this? Like the human and the computer will agree, like, and of course I'm sure he doesn't answer this, but like when he says like human and computer have the same reaction, I'm really curious, like, is there any kind of input from GMs? Like, are GMs looking at the games? Like, how is he coming up with that equation? He's an IM, yes, I understand he's an IM, but I mean, again, you cannot compare like an IM to a super GM. I mean, I will just be like that. Are there super GMs who are actually involved or not? Super GM? No, I'm not talking super GM games, you guys. I'm saying if a super GM looks at a game, if a super GM looks at, are super GMs looking at games is what I'm asking, or is he just modeling it off of their games? That's what I'm saying.
And actually, as our grandmaster in the studio, David Howell, has pointed out, that if you're a smart cheater, of course you're not going to make the perfect moves every time. Is the program designed to reveal that if you're cheating in a smart way, not always making those perfect moves?
There are features I've added to the program to try to enable that. In particular, it can use a distribution that upweights critical positions. It has to have its own way, a non-chess way of identifying critical positions based on the flux in values of the moves and how much the player to move stands to lose from a plausible bad decision. So that can therefore. I try
to account for this. I mean, like I said, I mean, yeah, we'll get to the end of this, but I already had some thoughts from something else that I listened to, but this makes me really, this troubles me a lot. Let me put it that way.
I agree, by the way, with the statistic that Simon quoted just before about how one bit of information about whether a given move works can be worth 150 ELO points. That's Viswanathan Anand's estimate. However, during the pandemic, it transpired that the cheating that was encountered in volume was not so smart. And then it's actually better to use the original unit-weighted version of my model, because...
Wait, so when he says... Actually, again, this is complicated too, because he says pandemic. Like, I can't tell if he's talking about over the board or online. So when he says pandemic, I'm gonna assume he means over the board, but like he mentions, I guess he means over the board still, right? Like, I'm a little bit confused. No, oh, he means, so like he said pandemic. Like, I can't tell when he says pandemic, does he mean online or over the board? Like, I can't tell what he means. He means, oh, so he means online. And this is the thing I was going to say. Like, this, I think, like, again, this is why there's such a difference between online and over the board at the end of the day, is because, like, when you're playing in person, like, as an example, like, you can't go to the game, open your phone and be like playing with your phone and just make the best move. You can't do that, obviously. You get caught cheating. But at home, you can theoretically do that. You can just like have your phone over here, off the camera, whatever, and just literally find it. Which of course, because of that, like online, I think probably people are stupid enough to think that, okay, well, you can actually just do it every single move in a different kind of way because it's not right out there. Whereas over the board, you can't do that. Whereas online, you can literally just like, someone can watch my stream, I'm playing them in an arena, and they can be like, they can look at their phone, play the best move, and that's that. And that's not smart, obviously. So I think that's why it's very that's why there's a very big difference between the two. Because online, like, nobody's watching you. You're at home, nobody's watching you. I mean, for the top level events, of course, they are, but like for just a fun casual game, it's like anybody can do it. Like, anyone can do it. So that's why there's such a huge difference between the two.
And I think you already said it, Kenneth, but that game in St. Louis between Magnus and Hans, that Hans won, you did not find anything suspicious in that game.
No, I mean, Niemann played well, but not too well. So I reported Z-scores very much deep in the normal range. I mean, positive, but not even near 2. Mm. And 2 is the civic idea of significance.
So it's 2.
FIDE uses a higher threshold.
So basically, he's saying there's some mathematical thing that's 2. Of course, I don't know what he's saying, but he's saying 2 is basically, there's some formula where if it's 2, it's probably what, like very likely. But FIDE, I guess, is a higher one. Is that what he's saying? 2 sigma, okay.
2.5. When there is other evidence
standard
that
deviation,
the statistical
okay,
results can support, and a vastly higher threshold needed, or at least proposed, in cases where statistics would be the only evidence.
And have you ever found anything suspicious in Hans Niemann's game, if it is over the board or online?
So most in particular, and I've now had leave to reveal this publicly. So as I said, I have 2 stages. I have a screening stage, and I do every Monday an omnibus screening of all of the tournaments in the Week in Chess and Chessbase updates. And in total, since 2+ years ago, I have 106 data points from Hans Niemann, including his online tournaments, Title Tuesday and the Chess.com Coinbase events. And I obtained a completely normal distribution, centered on 49.8. My screening stage scale is, I mean,
I don't know what he's saying exactly, obviously,
50, but the same scale as flipping a coin 100 times. When restricted to over-the-board tournaments, the center notched up only a little bit to 51.4. And this stands in huge contrast to what I observed of Igor's rouses. Not quite as many tournaments were available via those updates. He played in a lot of lesser tournaments that I didn't get.
You're uneducated, yeah.
But from 20 of those tournaments, every one of his screening scores was above 50. And several above 60. So it was clear that he was always performing above average. So that's a very definite contrast. So that's why I say
they're talking about rouses.
That at least as shown by my first stage, there is no evidence of any cheating in in-person tournaments or the major
I need a whiteboard? Yeah, totally.
In the past 2+ years. And I had communicated that privately to principal people everywhere. And I've revealed it publicly in response to a website called Pornalyze, run by someone named Caleb Wetherill, who claims that he has run simulations of those tournaments and reached the conclusion that Niemann performed considerably above average. So we have results that conflict with each other.
Interesting.
I'm measuring different things. I'm measuring concordance to the engines much more directly. He's measuring the results of the games, which depend on the opponents. And one data point in particular, where we'll need to do a lot more work to see if this is relevant in the large, but just about Niemann's surprisingly strong win in the Havana Kappa Memorial last April, he scored 7.5 out of 9. His screening scores were actually just about 50 or even a little under, depending on which engine I used for my test. But his opponents played much worse. His opponents had by far the greatest average cent-to-pawn loss. So that might explain why he harvested 7.5 points out of 9, whereas the direct test of information from the engine shows a little bit subnormal. So I have to say, you must be the smartest cheater in the world if you can get critical information at points in the games, win your games, and yet produce a result that shows up with me as less than 50, less than expectation agreement with the engine.
Wait, what?
I'll tip my cap to you if you can do that.
Wait a second. Wait. That last bit does not make sense. I'm gonna be honest. That last bit actually scares me. What he's saying, because he's essentially, as I read it, as I read that last bit that he's saying, it's. I mean, it sounds to me like what he's trying to imply that like it's impossible for someone to just cheat on 1 or 2 moves at a critical moment. Like, am I crazy? Like, doesn't he just say that? Isn't it? I mean, he's essentially like, for example, like this has been stated in Super GM circles 1,000 times now. Like Magnus has said it before, where it's we're literally like all that we would need. Even Gary says we need 1 move. If we know 1 move or we know the evaluation of critical position, we would just dominate and we'd all be like the best by like a country mile, not even close. But yeah, like I don't know because like I'm betting theoretically, like if there was a way to do it, it's 1 move, it's not detectable. Like I don't know, there were no cheating measures in Havana, I'm pretty sure, just to be clear. He said the model's looking at critical moves again, like what are critical moves, like because a critical move to a computer is very different than a human. Like I can give you like examples, even like if we look at this game that Hans just played, there like all these moves are not crazy, they're just normal. Like this is literally the critical position in the game. This is the critical, or sorry, you guys can't see the board, I'm an idiot. But like in this game, this is really this moment, or maybe this moment. These are the only 2 critical moments in the game. That's it. These are the only 2 critical moments. End of story. So let me see. So like even if this is a bad version of Stockfish, okay, Rook C8 for example, best move, very very human move, of course, and what, Knight D5, Queen D8, C4 or something, and then E6. I mean, like already I feel like if I know to play Rook C8 here, it'll be very easy for me to play the next like 5 moves quickly. He means tactics, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but I will say again, I'm not going to pretend to understand the math behind it, but I'm this leaves me feeling very very unsure of the future, very unsure. As a math master student, any statistics any statistics method is to find distribution, meaning that he's trying to find general distribution or performance. So the case you're mentioning, 1 move cheat, is nearly impossible to detect using any statistical methods. Well, you know, if that's the reality, if that is the reality of the chess world they live in, where like if someone could find some way to do it for 1 move period, let's just say it's possible to do it for 1 move, I mean I don't really see how professional chess continues in the long run. I really don't see how it's possible. And I mean, like that actually really scares me a lot. But at the same time, the problem, as I was saying before, is that like for super GMs, like people are not unbiased, so you can't like you have to find some blind test way to do it, and that's how you can and that's maybe how you can get some idea. But still, that doesn't mean that just because I find, like for example, even this game, I find G4 odd. It's not a move that I would probably ever consider playing here. I would probably play A4. A4 is probably most likely the move I would play. I would never consider it. But does that mean that someone else can't come up with it? No, that doesn't mean that. So that's what makes it very, very tough. That's what makes it very, very tough about this. Because like for me, if someone plays G4, I'd be like, okay, what is this move? This is not a human move. Because to me, it's not human. But that doesn't mean someone else couldn't find it. So it's very tough. Super GM should work together with guys like this and test what happens if a Super GM asks for moves. Yeah, but it's going to take a lot of work, probably. It's going to take a lot of work to work on that. So, yeah, I mean, it's not easy. But yeah, this is not even really about Hans at the moment. It's just like, it really concerns me, like the possibility that if someone could just like get access for 1 move, and that would be enough. Like G4 is not a natural move. You've castled kingside. It's a very unusual move. That doesn't mean it's like insane, but it's unusual because when you castle, you don't just start flinging pawns in front of your king right away. So at some point, FIDE would need to include interviews with the suspect about their games reviewed by a panel of people, right? And that's going to take a lot of time, a lot of money. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is. Yeah, I know I'm on the wrong scene. Sorry, you guys, but it actually, if anything, just listening to what he's saying, it worries me. You should try to cheat on your other 3,000 accounts and see how much till you get caught. You know, Chess.com a while back, they basically asked me to see if I could do it. Like I could create a random 1,500 account and see if I could beat their whatever their algorithm is. It was probably like 3 years ago or something. They asked me, but like I couldn't bring myself to do it because it's just like too gross and grimy. And like why would I? Like yeah, they did like I think it was 3 years ago. They asked me, it was like, just go create a random account and see like, and go play and see if you can somehow like beat our algorithm. They did ask me that. Whoa. So this is Erik from chess.com, and he says, okay, so it says Ken Regan is one of 2 or 3 people in the world who have the quantitative background, chess expertise, computer skills necessary to develop anti-cheating algorithms. Likely to work, says Mark Glickman, a statistics professor at Boston University and chairman of the USCF ratings committee. This man helped create chess.com's anti-cheat to be what it is today. Probably one of the very few people you should listen to when it comes to the matter of cheating in chess, instead of people that go by their guts. And then Erik replies, he says, this is not true. Ken Regan has not done any work whatsoever with chess.com's anti-cheat system, and we use different methods and models. And then he says, this guy looks legit, and Erik says, too legit to quit, though some days I wish. Oh man, so basically that's crazy. So I mean, I've heard this. So basically I have heard this too, that people have said Ken Regan worked with chess.com, and it's like, wait, he doesn't and he never has worked with chess.com ever. Okay, so that actually, I mean, that doesn't change much, but he says they use different methods and models. Very interesting. Different methods and models. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so I mean, I wonder what they would keep going. There's more. Okay, what about Hans's ban on chess.com? Is going to be the best kept secret for a long time? And Erik says, what's the secret? Can you guys clarify if you found new evidence of Hans cheating after he admitted to you guys back in 2020? That is the right question, but I cannot comment yet. I hope to be able to soon. What? What's going on here? Wait, I'm confused. Wait, now I'm confused. The only thing I could think of are legal issues, which leads me to think something must be going on behind the scenes between Magnus and Hans as well. Can't wait to know more. More generally, kudos for chess.com. What a huge project must have been to set up such an engine. Thanks. It's been a wild ride and never a dull moment. As a chess fan, I'm super stoked about what chess has become. As a CEO of this for 16 years, I'm tired of something. There's more to it. Oh wow, this goes on. Okay, your public statement challenged the amount and seriousness of cheating he admitted to. This suggests you found him cheating more frequently and in more serious situations, but I'm personally very curious for some clarification about the recency of games and the evidence you provided to him. Are the allegations about more games than he intimated he cheated in back when he was 16? Not sure of the exact dates, or do they include games in the past 2 years? I wish I could comment now, but I cannot. Wait, I'm really confused now. Wait a second. I'm really confused.
Big B0 Nick just subscribed.
Am I crazy for reading this as like, isn't he kind of, first of all, it sounds like it's definitely legal, but secondly, doesn't it sound like they're saying there's like, doesn't it sound like he's saying there's something more than what's been said? I mean, or maybe I'm crazy. I mean, now I'm really confused. Like, thank you, Caden V for the 5 and Quiet Guru for the gifted sub.
Caden V has gifted 5 subs.
Is there more? There's more. Okay. Wait. Right. I sympathize with that more so than with Magnus, because at least you said something Hans can respond to. But at the same time, you not being able to clarify that basic difference remains a significant problem. In all this, I'm willing to take on faith that you have evidence to support your claim that his statement minimized how much he cheated, but I sort of expect someone to minimize it in those circumstances, and I think the timing of the games under dispute is massively important. For example, when he says I cheated in a few random games, probably means I cheated about 50 random games and an online titled tournament, and that might seem reprehensible on the face of it, but it's a matter of degrees and it's historical data. Is there a huge difference if it was 5 games or 25? as long as it was years ago and no one has found him cheating more recently, then the fact remains that he seems to have beaten Magnus without cheating, at least so far as anyone has been able to demonstrate. And that seems like sufficient justification for him being allowed to keep competing with the world's best players. So the longer we go with only vague public accusations, the more harm is being done to his reputation and frankly to yours. I hope you'll be able to comment soon. Okay. Erik says, I hear you. As a chess fan, and if I were not on the inside at the center of this, I would be totally frustrated by the lack of comments coming from both Magnus and Chess.com. I hope that can change soon. Okay, interesting. Okay, so this goes on. While I appreciate you responding in comments here, even if you can't be more helpful, it does help me feel like you and your org aren't a nameless, faceless bully. I'm still not sure why you're not able to make the public allegation you made. Why you're not able to make the public allegation you made, but not able to make it any clearer on the point of recency. It would seem like if the claim is supported by evidence, then a touch more specifically shouldn't be out of bounds. But I'm not a lawyer, just as you said, a frustrated fan. So yeah, it's very clear. I guess there's more to it, but it's very clear there's something legal. There's something legal about all of this. Okay, I get that. I know we can look like a faceless bully org, but just know that we are chess fans ourselves, doing our best for the game. It's not always easy. Lots of decisions, challenges, and hard moments like these. I'm literally just a guy typing on a computer just like you. I'm a chess fan. It's why I started this company, and I understand your frustration. I'm equally frustrated. I cannot yet say more, and it does all hinge on what you said. Legal issues. Okay, legal issues. Okay, reads like you guys have nothing except Magnus's word and you sided with him out of loyalty. I mean dollars. I guess that's a story you can come away with. Can you tell me where all those dollar signs are coming from, though? I'm not sure where those are in this equation. Oh, there's more. Oh my, wait, this just goes, wait, there's more. Okay, there's more. Okay, your anti-cheat is absolute rubbish. Many times I've reported players who are cheating, and what's more blatantly so, I mean, moves around the same time, the top 2 engine choices have, etc., etc. It's honestly laughable how bad it is. Then you look at their accounts and they've been cheating for ages, so maybe hire this guy. Okay. Erik tweets out then, DM me some usernames and I'll have our team take a look. Okay. I play on Lead Chess now. I reported all players as I found them, and as far as I know, they all got banned. My point is, after playing them, it was super obvious just looking at their profile. So obvious they should have never gotten away with it for so long. Now I will interject here. One of the problems that people seem to forget is when you have hundreds of thousands of people playing on your site. You know, I think chess.com, their company has grown. I remember when I went to the chess.com meetup like maybe 5 years ago, and I think chess.com has something like 20 full-time employees, and now they have like, I think like over 100. Like, it's just not a small company anymore. It's a very big company, and I think people forget that like there's so many people who are doing so many different jobs, and thinking that it's just like 10 people and they can just focus on like an individual person's claim when I'm sure they have like a whole list of claims is insane. Yeah, they can pay 89 million. Yeah, your anti-cheat sucks. People get banned after they reported. WTF LOL. Right, yeah. Okay. Okay, so it says, okay, so Erik responds, I'm glad you're still playing chess. It is a challenge for us that many people believe their opponents are cheating, and we don't always agree. I'm sorry. Okay. Erik clapping back. There's more, right? Yeah. Is it, how much more of this is there? Okay, it ends. Where is the last Erik comment? It's right here. Okay. I usually hate you, but these comments are really enjoyable. I usually love you, but okay. And that's it, right? So that's the end of the thread. So wow, okay. Very interesting thread. So very interesting thread. So it seems to me, first of all, there's definitely much more to this. Without a doubt, there's much more to this than there's much more of this than we are aware of. It's very clear that it's not being talked about because there's legal stuff. Who knows? Like, I don't know if it's like defamation type stuff or if it's like actual like TOS or like EULAs or stuff like that. But it sounds like it's legal and there's a lot more to this. So I guess we have to wait and see. But wow, yeah, this is Hans is wasting his time. Find a good lawyer and he gets rich soon. I'm kind of the opposite opinion. I think this is dying out because, or not dying out, but I think Hans is not saying anything specifically because I think that everything will come out if this goes to court, and I suspect it's not going to reflect well for him. So that's my take on it. I think my take is that actually, like, the way that it's going to work in discovery and other stuff, it's going to actually be, it will be a whole different story.